The Pharisees are very particular with the law on the ancient traditional ritual of cleansing, that everybody should wash their hands before eating, otherwise they will remain unclean. And they criticize the disciples of Jesus for violating the rules. Now Jesus told them, "Nothing that goes into a man from outside can make him unclean. It is the things that come out of a man that make him unclean." And this we heard from the Gospel according to Mark. Christ teaches of spiritual purity. Cleanliness in the eyes of God is the purity of the soul. Traditions are norms in culture, but what is more important for God, according to Jesus, is purity in the interior life. Uncleanliness, in the true sense of religion, is stain in the soul because of sin. For Jesus, religion is not just precepts and regulations to be followed. It is not just a set of doctrines to be memorized, nor customary and traditional rituals to be observed. True religion is intimacy with God, rooted in the sincerity of one's heart. The essence of true religion is our contemplation of God that results to good action and to the values that are formed from a humble heart. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God is to keep oneself unstained by the world. And this we heard from the letter of St. James in the second reading. Jesus calls the Pharisees and the scribes as hypocrites because they do not practice what they preach. Quoting the prophet Isaiah, Jesus said, "These people honors me only with lip service, but their hearts are far from me." Hypocrisy is superficiality, a nonconformity of our action with what we think and with what we believe. It is closely associated with dishonesty and insincerity. There is no place for hypocrisy in Christianity, as Jesus teaches to be genuine, to be truthful and honest before the eyes of God and before others. God does not want us to live in a world of split-level morality, where human acts flow from evil intention even as if they appear as good. Our obligation to the Lord is to keep an authentic faith by an honest-to-goodness practice of charity and genuine service. Be doers of the word by coming to help those in dire needs. And again, we heard this from the letter of St. James. The Catholic faith has beautiful religious traditions and devotional exercises, such as the recitation of the Rosary, the Stations of the Cross, our devotion to saints, and many other more. And these are expressions of our simple faith, the simple faith of the faithful. The Church maintains laws and norms that guide the members in their actions and ecclesial duties. When putting things into practice, it is important to understand the reason and the purpose why these laws, these norms, are made, so that we may not get confused in interpreting and keeping the will of God in our traditional religious practices. Remember, Jesus tells us not to put aside the commandment of God to observe human traditions. Religious practices should therefore be translated into commitment to serve. If the seed of faith is rooted in our soul, the intention that arises from our hearts will be good. Our motives for worship will be pure, and our desire to serve will be genuine. Keep them and observe them, and they will demonstrate to the peoples your wisdom and understanding. And we heard this in the first reading according to the book of Deuteronomy. As we observe Social Justice Awareness Sunday, let us reflect on our commitment for service as we are reminded by the Lord to discern on our religious traditions and practices, whether these religious traditions and practices serve the purpose for which they were made. Let us pray that we may use them well to honor God better by taking good care of all His creation. May God bless us all.